So this is going to be a deep video. So I come from a family who puts big implications on right and wrong, and both sides of the family, the grandparents, uh, basically used being wrong when people were wrong as a tool to uh, take away their power, basically like a punishment. Oh, well, since you were wrong about this, that's why you're not going to get paid so much, and because you did this wrong, blah blah blah. And they really took it to the nth degree. And so both my mom and my stepdad, who she remarried when I was very young, both had this what do you call it, complex, uh, and they expressed it big time with me because I used to go to battle with them about what right and wrong is, and because they're trying to preach at me like there's some sort of super wisdom noble people, and they're not. It was all hypocrisy nonsense. And so um, I got to a stage in my life where it's like I had to just stay away from them because it just takes me back to that rut. And part of the reason why I did these Vet Titans channel stuff is because I wanted to see what my flaws were. So instead of trying to candy coat anything and be a super good person and put my best foot forward, I put my worst foot forward, trying to see what are my real flaws. If I take things to the nth degree, what are my flaws? And today, Friday, was a super stressful day. It's like 4 in the morning right now. But yesterday, Friday, was a super stressful day because, and it's my own fault. Like, don't think I'm blaming anybody here. It's me. But yesterday was a really bad day. So I knew this stock tip. It's not a tip. It was just, it was like the universe gave me a stock tip. It's like, this is going to happen tomorrow. And basically I predicted that Bitcoin would go up, hit the boundary line, come down, if not drop big time, and that a person can make money on the way down with Master, MicroStrategy, I should say. The symbol is MSTR, so I always call it Master. And had I done that, I would have made a lot of money. I would have multiplied my money anywhere between 5 and 10, no problem, on those puts on the options market. Because as it approached that boundary line, the puts were super cheap, and then there was plenty of time to buy as it was approaching that boundary line. As it was rising, the puts were super cheap. They went as low as 2 cents, and the thing went as high as $2, $2.10 on the puts I was looking at. Now, granted, I wouldn't have hit it on those perfect spots. So let's say I would have bought it at 20 cents, which it was hanging out around there for a while, and I would have taken it up to $2. Or let's say I would have bought it at 30 cents and taken it up to $1.50. The point is, there was a huge opportunity to make a whole lot of money. And instead, I did something very foolish. I put out to my friends, multiple people. It's not any one person, and I'm definitely not mad at these people. They didn't do anything wrong. This is kind of like a lesson that I keep not learning this lesson. So I put out this tip to my friends because I'm worried that they're invested in Master, MicroStrategy, and I was worried that today there was potential for Bitcoin to fall, to get MicroStrategy to come down for the options market, which is what it did. It didn't rise by any means. And so the moral of this video is about being right, like always worrying about who's right and who's wrong, and that's not the top priority. That it can it's like a fine line. Obviously, when people are wrong and you listen to their advice, like, I'll just say this, and I'm not trying to, these people didn't do anything wrong. Every single person that I told this idea to said, no, man, I think tomorrow Bitcoin flies. Tomorrow I think Bitcoin goes up, and Master is going to go up too. So I thought about it, and I said, okay, well, obviously from down here up to the trend line is going to go up. I can agree with that. But what I did was I made a foolish mistake in the options market, because when it all opened, there was this really fast-paced zigzag with huge velocity up and down momentum, and that velocity causes the calls to be expensive. So I saw it taken off, and I was like, these people might be right. It might go up above the trend line, but then ultimately it's going to come crashing back down. They're going to get it back to this zone going into the election. This zone or lower is what I told everybody, and it's just like my gut could just see it. I was like, it's a trap. It's a bull trap. They're going to get everybody right here. Well, stupid me, I participate in the bull trap, and I invested my money into this call that I then got trapped in, because as it approached the line and hit the line, then there was no momentum upward anymore, and so I got trapped in this call where it's pennies if you sell it. You're not making any money. You're losing all your money. So instead of me trusting that voice that gives me these good ideas when it's like really clear, like I knew that this was something that was going to happen, the dropping. And then my money was tied up, and I didn't invest much money into the dropping. I made some money on the dropping, but the dropping didn't make me the money that I lost on the upward motion. Okay. The reason why I point this out, you say, oh my God, that's so stupid. Why would you do that? My mom, my stepdad, but especially my mom and her side of the family, they're very my mom, she like locks in. She does these very irrational things, and she just gets on a I don't know how to explain it, but I think a lot of what she's doing is she's trying to prove she's right, or she's trying to hope she's right. And that's kind of the motivator for taking risks, is you want to sometimes prove you're right. That wasn't my motivation today. I just wanted to make money, but neither here nor there. But what I'm getting at is I ended up being kind of short or rude with some of my friends who were trying to communicate me with throughout the day, because they're the ones who all said this thing was going to fly, and it didn't. It did what I thought it was going to do. It went down. It hit the trend line and went down. And rather than retaliate or anything, it just friendships aren't worth it. And so I'm not here to criticize them. I genuinely hope they forgive me for just being short with them and frustrated, because I have nobody to blame but myself. If you have some sort of intuition thing and your intuition says to do something, I guess the moral is you just got to do it and not run it past everybody. Like if you really have something that you got inside you, you just got to do it and not run it past everybody. And it's not going to be productive to share it with anybody, because it creates an ego match situation where somebody's going to end up being wrong regardless which way you go, and it creates an I told you so situation kind of thing. And so I talked to my aunt, my mom's older sister, tonight for many hours. And I actually ran through my inventions with her, and I said, here's the issue. And I can't believe she had the attention span to listen to all these inventions I have, but they're very profound, big things. And she's like, oh my God, because I never talked to this. She's out west. I really never talked to her, unfortunately. And she's like, holy, you got a lot of inventions here. And she's like, these are very profound. They change things. Like, I've got this marketplace website that allows the upgrade of, it sounds crazy, but I can fix the food industry. I know a way to go about it's something that I invented for the car industry, but it works for food, and it would allow us to get to better food. And he's like, what's this guy talking about? Once you hear it, you're like, holy shit, you're right, that works. So I've got all these ideas, but just because I'm right and just because they accomplish the objective doesn't mean that there's not a negative trade-off to these ideas. And I feel like every time I go to try to release my ideas to the world, it's like two repulsion magnets, like the universe goes out of its way to cloud my judgment to do really weird things instead of just release my stuff. Like I make really bad, it's not even that I make really bad choices per se, but sometimes I do, I guess. But it's like it literally feels like two repulsive magnets. Like when I try to file these patents and get this stuff done, it's like, and then you got these silly antichrist prophecies. I had another guy who was willing to talk to me today, a Facebook friend, who was willing to talk to me today for well over an hour, and we talked physics stuff. And he's not a physics buff, but he was a smart enough guy to follow what I was saying. And I said, my big worry is that these websites result in super technological advancement at a very rapid pace to where the world leaders can't stop and can't lockbox these certain super weapons. This technology that leads to super weapons. And it really comes all the way down. It boils down to why Biden and these guys are the way they are, and why Trump is the way he is, and he's on the outside, and why they think Trump's an idiot. It's because, don't get me wrong, I understand Trump's intelligent and everything, but if you understand the real big picture that there are super weapons, it starts to make sense why the world has to be the way that it is. But anyway, I had a dream a long time ago, and I've explained this before when I got my motorcycle wreck. I had like this vision or something where it's like I lived a whole other life, and during that life, I was kind of made like superhuman to where I could survive, like out in outer space. I had like this synthetic body. So there got to one point where it's like I just went to the moon. I figured out a way to get to the moon, and I went to the moon just to prove a point to everybody, because we were in this, here's the way to do this, otherwise you guys are going to fail miserably. And enough of the population didn't want to listen, and I put the rest of the population in an impossible situation where I said, if you guys can't defend me to these other idiots who want to try to kill me, then I'm just going to go watch the shit show from the moon, and it's only a matter of time till you idiots blow yourselves up. And that's what they did. It went to like nuclear war eventually, and because I explained enough things to everybody that society's currently sheltered from. And it wasn't even that I explained the nuclear bomb plans to people, it's that I explained the system of control that people don't know is there. And once the people knew that the system of control was there, they knew how to escape the system of control. And that's when then the nuclear bombs start going off, when you get smart people who can get their hands on those things. So this life and this society are very sacred, if you will, meaning there comes a point where you have to trade what is right and what is possible for appreciating what you have. Now I'm going to give you a little, for instance here, let me pull up a video. Let me see something here. Thanks for being patient with me here. I'm going to pull up a video and show you something.
Kauffman. Is it hard for you to say those words? We're trying to cure cancer.
That's a really good question, and one it's hard to say. We want to cure cancer. We do. And
oh shit, hang on. I was trying to turn it up and I failed.
think sometimes it's hard actually to think.
Start over.
Take one.
Is it hard for you to say those words? We're trying to cure cancer.
That's a really good question. Why it's hard to say we want to cure cancer. We do. And I think sometimes it's hard actually to think that you might actually succeed.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to pause this so there's not a copyright issue. Okay, and then go again here.
Patients that we're treating on this clinical trial have absolutely no other options left for them. These are patients who are unfortunately destined to die of their disease and in a fairly short amount of time.
Emily Whitehead, 554.
So Emma is incredibly matter of fact about all of this stuff. This was a child who had had her leukemia come back twice. The parents were looking for a miracle.
What we learned how to do is train the immune system to recognize and then kill tumor cells.
It's a procedure where we collect their T cells, and they are infected with a virus that will genetically change them so that they will now see and react against their leukemia cells.
And we actually use the HIV virus to do that.
So you're taking the HIV virus and infecting healthy cells with it to help kill cancer?
Yes. The virus has been engineered so that it can't cause disease anymore. But it still retains the ability to reprogram the immune system so that it will now attack cancer cells. We call those modified immune cells serial killer cells. Each infused cell can kill more than 1,000 different tumor cells.
But the reality is the dramatic responses of cancer to new treatments are very unusual. We need to make it clear when we talk to a family that it may not work. Emma was given her T-cell treatment, and within a few days, she was very sick. She had breathing difficulties, she had blood pressure difficulties. We knew that she could not have gotten any sicker without actually dying. Difficulties. We knew that she could not have gotten any sicker without actually dying.
But then a remarkable thing happened. The T cells were growing, they were starting to fight the cancer.
Within hours, Emma's fever disappeared.
It was like the calm after the storm. The clouds went away, and she woke up, and there was no leukemia. When that child survived, it was, of course, an amazing event.
So you say, wow, that's cool. Everything's going to be great soon. That video is like 8 years old, okay? And the reason why I'm going to talk about this, and this is profound, is because the not only, okay, well, let's just jump into it. The FDA will never approve something probably that requires great talent to engineer it. It's like when you build a bridge across the gorge, the blueprint for one bridge is not the same blueprint for the next bridge because the gorges are different shapes and geometries, different obstacles, whatever. So it takes a very intelligent architect to create this bridge to get across the gorge. Fighting cancer is the same concept. There's not just going to be like this magic pill that fights all cancer. You have to examine basically what cancer is your body, by the way, is killing cancer every day. You have cancer cells in your body every day and your white blood cells are killing it. cancer, when you develop cancer and you're dying of cancer, it's because there's a variant of cancer which your body can't detect. It doesn't see it as a problem. And so that's what they said. They reprogram the cells to see it as a problem. And the point is, if you can do that over and over and over systematically every time you develop any cancer, then technically speaking, you can turn telomerase back on and you go back to being 20 years old. I've known this for a long time. And those of you saying, oh, hogwash, blah, blah, blah. It's really that simple, guys. And I'm on a planet. And see, here's the thing. I get disrespectful to try to throw it in people's face to an extent. You know my usual deal. So I'm going to try to be different in this video. You know what I could say right now. But instead, what I'm going to say is, I've crunched the reality in my mind. I'm very good at being able to think things through like accurately on what would happen. And the amount of jealousy and contempt that would exist between people on this, because you'd have people making mistakes first and foremost. You'd have people making mistakes that kill each other. Okay? Then you'd have other people getting it right. Then you'd have the other people who were scared to participate in it because they don't know either here nor there what they want to do. They don't know if they're going to get killed by the treatment or, fixed by the treatment. Because you can reprogram your cells to kill your good cells, okay? Because you're programming your cells on what cells to kill, and if it's too broad of a scope, you end up killing your good cells. And who knows, maybe like 90% of your body or 99% of your body's fine, it doesn't kill it, but next thing you know, it has a problem with your heart, and it goes after your heart, or maybe it has a problem with your kidneys, and it kills your kidneys, or whatever it is, your stomach lining, who knows, your brain. It could be, you don't realize the potential risk, but the big thing is, once we would have these people that are quote-unquote like immortals, they would get very advanced in physics because you have all the time in the world and your mind is always young. See, youth is about the rate at which you heal. And telomerase length on your telomeres changes the rate at which you heal. So roughly 10 years ago, when that video came out, I really started hitting hard about the telomerase and the cures to cancer, and how I'm on a planet with a bunch of ding-dongs and they can't even put two and two together, that we're like right there of being that we can live a lot longer because there's no longer the negative trade-off of, well, if you turn telomerase back on, you're going to have deadly cancer. Not if you can kill the cancer. So I wanted to go back to school for molecular biology, and my grandfather on my stepdad's side of the family said no way. He wouldn't let me go. And you say, well, Brandon, why don't you just do it? My stepdad never did his taxes on time, so I couldn't do FAFSA. It was just a crazy situation. And I've devoted a huge amount of my life, a huge percentage of my life, towards working on being right, not out of ego, but out of generosity, figuring out what is right for really big breakthroughs for the world. And what I'm coming to is, I see the walls in the matrix, and I see the bars to the prison, if you will, that keep us, the zoo, that keep us in a captivity. And you say, oh yeah, let's escape the captivity. But there's really big negative trade-offs in this situation to escaping the captivity. We don't know how good we have it. And if you get caught up on being right and proving you're right about everything, you don't necessarily have the foresight to realize, okay, so you're right, but the problem is, the big picture is you're wrong. And but we don't want to let people who make wrong decisions into our life, because it costs us financially, which is why I started this video with that topic. But in a weird way, and I've said this before, I'm thankful, and I'm not just saying this, I'm not just trying to be, oh, he's so noble to say such a thing. I'm being genuine right now. I'm really thankful for these really bad days financially. And these situations where I could almost lose friends, you know, I come close to saying something or doing something or whatever. I'm thankful for these days because it's allowing me to really stop and reflect. See, my mom and her dad, they just don't have any, they're like full speed ahead raging bulls. They just, they don't look at the negative repercussions of what they're up to. They just get hell-bent on doing something and try to force it. And I have a lot of that in me, and everybody's like, yeah, we need more people like you to speak up for everything. Really, long story short, even my websites, I see the long-term negative trade-off to my websites. I just see long-term negative trade-offs, and they have this silly antichrist prophecy, and I could fill the bill in a heartbeat if I start releasing all this stuff that I understand, just talking in like a video, just explaining, hey, I think this could happen, I think this could happen, I think this could happen. It would create a demand globally where everybody would be like, oh, he's like another Elon Musk, and he's figured out these things, and if we just listen to him, and Elon Musk would say, hey, you know, Brandon's right about that and that and that. See, Elon Musk, he reminds me of me, and I know this sounds arrogant, but I don't think his time is consumed, so his inventions aren't as profound as the inventions that I've created, okay? Don't get me wrong, the rocket's cool, the vertical takeoff, all that stuff. I know it sounds like bullshit, but I had the same idea for not a big, massive, huge rocket, but a smaller aircraft that's like the nose of the SR-71 that has thrust vectoring and can land and everything vertical, and it has legs that I feel like are better than his, and on his aircraft, because they're better. They don't weigh much, but it's just a different strategy on how to do the legs, where they mount the aircraft a lot higher. That way it doesn't tip over. But neither here nor there. I'm trying to figure out like why, if there's a reason why I'm here, or if that's just the problem that we all have. And this world is to kind of give us importance as long as we stay in bounds. I want to throw this in the video. It wouldn't surprise me if you know, the person Jesus was very technologically advanced and very logical. You know, his dad was a carpenter and everything, supposedly. It wouldn't surprise me if he was very advanced technologically, way more than the Bible discusses, and that's why they keep his younger years secret. Or it could just be where it's like he just stayed away from people like I did, and then finally just says, okay, kabam, I'm going to get famous. The moral that I'm getting at is, when I'm around my family, it's all about who's right and who's wrong. That's all they want to talk about. And that's a bad program to run on. Everybody wants to prove they're right. And the reason why they're doing that is because they're starving for, basically they don't want to be enslaved. Because when you're in our family, the patriarch of the family, the higher up of the family, basically always explained why you don't deserve to be in control or in charge or whatever, because you made this mistake and you made that mistake, and they hold these mistakes over you. And what's funny is my mistakes, the worst thing they can come up with me on, and it's neither here nor there, but like my grandpa complains that I used to tear up quads when I was a little kid. I'd drive the quad 1,600 miles in the course of a summer. You know, it's like driving from Ohio to Nevada. And of course, it's going to need new bushings and this and this and this. And so he would always, to this day, he bitches a fit. I always had to take the four-wheeler to go get it fixed after you were done using it. But if I had today to do over again, I would have just done what I knew was like the safer bet instead of trying to catch the upswing too. I would have just done what I knew was the bear trap. Done the puts, and then just given my friends some money. Instead of give people the stock tips, just give people the money. If you really care about them or something. I'm just... So then it's like I'm trying to cheer for their point of view. It's like, I hope it gets bullish. You know, it's like I'm trying to be one with the club, because I had all these different friends who said, no, it's going to fly today. It's going to go up. So I'm trying to keep my stuff positive because I'm invested in a bull stance. And anyway, and I wagered a lot of money. That was the key. That was my mistake. I don't get those feelings that often when it's like I know something's about to happen and I really can see it. Either way, I'm thankful for today. It caused me to reach out to my aunt and us talk for a long time. She'd never heard my inventions before. And anyway, that's long enough for that video. See ya.